Anime, Mashal, Magic and Muscles. Continuing to episode 4, Mash, who was forced to participate in Duelo, remained on the ground and couldn't fly. The audience even began to suspect that it was a rigged match to let the Lang dormitory win. Finn and Lemon, who were also watching the match, were worried about why Mash still couldn't fly. Tom approached Mash and encouraged him, shouting and asking if he didn't want to illuminate the flame called life with big dreams. He said that Mash should become like bamboo, capable of surviving in any climate. Mash didn't take it seriously. Then, Tom realized that he hadn't explained the rules of Duelo yet, and he proceeded to explain them to Mash. The objective of the game is for the players to compete for the ball against the opposing team and score points by throwing it through the ring. Magic incantations are not allowed in this sport, only broomstick riding techniques are permitted. While Tom was explaining, the enemy team scored another point, bringing the total to 49 points. Tom had put everything on the line for this Duelo, which is why he invited Mash. Just as Tom was about to fly back to continue the match, he was bumped by the enemy team and fell to the ground. Meanwhile, the enemy team had reached 50 points while Mash's team only had 10 points. Tom seemed to have a broken bone and couldn't continue the match. When Tom reprimanded the opponent about sportsmanship, they didn't care about such foolish things and only cared about winning. Time was running out, and the enemy team had a significant lead. Tom also told Mash that what mattered wasn't winning or losing but how serious he was about it. Once again, the enemy team scored a point, bringing the total to 60 points. The enemy team felt fortunate because 2 members of the Adler dormitory couldn't play. Mash appeared frustrated and tightly gripped his broomstick. He jumped high into the air and stopped floating. It turned out that Mash was simply kicking his legs quickly to stay afloat. It seemed utterly illogical. Mash asked his teammates to pass the ball to him. The enemy team tried to steal the ball from Mash since he was just standing there. From a distance away from the ring, Mash threw the ball with great force, causing the opponents to be flung away and scoring a point. His throw was incredible, but they were still behind by 49 points, and there was little time left. But it didn't stop there. After passing through the ring, the ball curved and returned to Mash's hand. Mash repeated this several times. The ball was thrown with unbelievable finger strength, and its trajectory was beyond comprehension. The opponents didn't stand a chance. In the remaining time, Mash's team managed to score 999 points. Everyone witnessing this could only stare in astonishment. The first Duelo match of the season was won by the Adler dormitory. The audience, who had initially underestimated Mash, now showered him with praise. The Adler dormitory set a record for the highest score and received silver coins. The silver coins they received were not in the form of complete circles but rather resembled 1/5 of a circle. After the match, Tom thanked Mash for being an exceptional bamboo. At night, a student was seen reading a newspaper. The newspaper contained news about Mash Burndead, who set the highest record in Duelo history. The student recognized Mash from the entrance exam. They felt annoyed because Mash was too naive, taking the risk of failure to help a stranger. The student wanted to make Mash their next target. The next day, Mash was feeling overwhelmed as Tom kept insisting on practicing Duelo and Lemon kept urging him to study. When Mash wanted to seek help from Finn, he ended up falling asleep. The student who read the newspaper the previous day, Lance Crown, wanted to join in with Mash because it seemed exciting. They were surprised to see him there. Lance had 2 magical markings on his face and ranked first in the entrance exam. Mash said it wasn't fun anymore here. Then, Lance invited them to do something exciting. Mash guessed if the exciting thing was playing hide and seek, but it turned out to be something else. Lance took out a bottle that was a special magical tool. When he opened the bottle, Finn, Lemon, and Tom were sucked into it and trapped, shrinking in size. If Mash wanted his friends back, Lance instructed him to come to the forest next to the Owl's cottage. Upon arriving at the agreed location, Lance said he wanted to make a bet with Mash. Lance had 2 silver coins, which was impressive considering he was still in the first year. Moreover, he had 2 magical markings. Almost everyone in this world was a wizard with 1 marking. Only a few had more than 1 marking. The number of magical markings represented the magical energy one possessed. Lance wanted to compete with Mash and bet their respective coins. In this academy, a duel unrelated to coins would be strictly prohibited. Lance believed he would definitely win because he understood that Mash had a naive personality. Furthermore, the lives of his friends were currently in Lance's hands. Tom and Lemon warned Mash not to accept the challenge and to resist Lance. Mash ignored them and agreed, and the match was about to begin. Before the match started, Lance chanted a spell, Graviole, to expand the open space in the forest. Brad and Mash's grandfather, who were hiding in the forest, were shocked when suddenly the forest was destroyed. Without saying much, Mash immediately charged forward to confront Lance. Lance considered Mash to be underestimating him by fighting without using magic. Lance used Graviole again, this time focusing it on Mash. Mash immediately fell due to the strong gravitational force. Lance saw Mash's actions as mere playfulness and lacking great ambition. Lance was annoyed that someone like Mash had silver coins. Mash seemed to have some difficulty standing up. However, even without standing, Mash fought back. He plunged his hand into the ground and split the earth by pulling out a large tree root. Lance managed to distance himself from the ground. Mash quickly closed the distance between them. Lance chanted Graviole again, but now Mash could withstand the gravitational force with his feet and unleashed a punch towards Lance. Mash's movements were now much faster than before. Lance could still dodge it, but the pendant he was wearing fell near Mash. Mash looked inside the pendant and saw a photo of a little child. Mash suspected that Lance was a Lolican. Lance denied it. He wasn't a Lolican, but a Siskin. It was even worse. Lance then asked for his pendant back, and Mash returned it. Lance paused the fight momentarily and asked Mash a question. What is the most precious thing in the world? Mash answered everything from cream puffs, life, love, to freedom, but they were all wrong. Lance became annoyed even though the answer was quite clear. Lance answered that the most precious thing in the world was his younger sister. Truly a Siskin's behavior. Even though everyone has their own precious things. After that, Lance threatened Mash. He would drop the bottle containing his friends into the abyss. Furthermore, he would accelerate it with gravitational magic. Lance had anticipated that Mash would try to save them. In that moment, Lance would attack Mash. Lance said he was willing to be evil for the sake of his sister. Suddenly, a flashback scene showed Lance and his sister, Anna. Anna scolded Lance for getting into fights again. Lance kept denying that he had been fighting, although his denial seemed insincere. Anna then healed her brother's wounds with magic. In reality, Anna already knew. Lance had helped a child who was being bullied, which made Lance himself a target. Anna liked her awkward but kind-hearted brother. The flashback also revealed that Anna had a disease that was draining her magical energy. According to the doctor, Anna could only survive for a maximum of 5 years. If Anna lost her magical energy, her parents would be forced to hand her over to the government. Lance couldn't accept that decision. Anna hadn't done anything wrong, so why were her parents so cruel? Lance hated the Magic Bureau that created such rules. He was determined to become a holy visionary and save Anna. Returning to the present, Lance actually dropped the bottle and increased its speed with gravitational magic. When Lance looked at Mash, he had taken off his uniform and was wearing his training clothes. Mash was warming up. He then assumed a ready position to run and said hamstring magic as if casting a spell. Of course, Lance had never heard of such magic. Mash changed his ready pose, and suddenly his body became incredibly muscular, emitting smoke. He then seemed to utter a magic incantation, Big Bang Dash. Mash, in that moment, was able to save his friends and defeat Lance at the same time. He swiftly ran down the cliff, caught the bottle, and returned to the top in an instant. Lance was truly surprised, thinking that Mash was using physical enhancement magic. After witnessing Mash's abilities, Lance became slightly uncertain. In the midst of the tension, Mash asked to end the fight right there. Mash also believed that Lance wasn't truly a bad person. The bottle that Mash had caught turned out to be empty and fake. Mash quickly searched Lance at the same speed and found the real bottle containing his friends. Lance felt frustrated, wondering why Mash wanted to end the match. Mash could have obtained 2 silver coins if he continued. Lance even thought Mash was mocking him. Mash, however, wasn't mocking Lance, he was simply awkward when it came to making rational decisions. Upon hearing this, Lance remembered his sister's words, which were similar to Mash's answer just now. Lance finally accepted it and ended the fight. However, Lance gave Mash 1 silver coin because, from the beginning, it was Lance who challenged Mash to the duel. Mash was curious about the outcome if he had truly fought Lance seriously. Finn, Lemon, and Tom, who had been released from the magic bottle, immediately expressed their gratitude to Mash for saving them. At that moment, Mash regretted not opening the bottle when they had arrived at school earlier. This is the end of episode 4. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss part 5 of this series recap.